Okay, and we are live. Hello out there, everybody. My name is Joe. I'm your resident marketing specialist over here at Realty Partners. So happy Thanksgiving Eve for all those that celebrate it. So I understand that a lot of you all are probably in the throes of travel right now, in which case I apologize. I saw the reports a little bit earlier today on just how many problems that's going to be. So I do not envy you. I am in no way, shape, or form jealous of that because my parents only live about an hour up the road. So all I got to do is wake up tomorrow and head over there. That's about it. So my life is going to be pretty easy. Just letting you know so you can then be envious of me. Now, I understand that some of you have already read the report on NAR's latest existing home sales report for October. Now, that has been, well, as we already know, time around this time of year, home sales tend to go down. It's mostly just because of winter and things of that nature. This is very typical of the year, so there's no need to be worried should you be a first-time agent. This is quite normal, so don't panic yet. But the latest housing report has a little bit of good news and a little bit of bad news. I'll get into that here in a minute. But it's mostly what's been going on in terms of what it's been doing since, well, this time last year, and just the numbers that's been going up since the recession. We'll all go over that. So let's go ahead and get to it for anybody that's out there in the airport. Now I'm going to be your entertainment, so it's great. All right, so to go ahead and start off, I realized that as I was reading the report, that existing home sales have increased in October for the first time in the 6 months of it decreases, actually. So that was very fortunate news to hear. It is likely because the people are more coming out of their shells, so to say, just to see what kind of inventory there is out there. The news that that's been a buyer's market and that's really easy to get in, or seller's market. I apologize. So either way, the whole bottom line is that the homes have not been on the market for very long, and this has been a trend that we've been seeing since the beginning of the summer. And well, kind of. And let's see. So it's been decreasing, and now it's been coming back up during this month. 3/4 of the major markets actually saw gains in their respective markets. If you want to know the numbers, feel free to go to the press release itself. It details all the numbers and who was actually growing the most. I think the one that did not see any gains was I think in the Midwest. There were a few smaller markets out there that actually saw a bit of an increase, but didn't affect the whole region after all. But otherwise, a bunch of the regions saw gains. The South, the Northeast, the West, I think those three saw some major increases. Now with the whole wildfires going on in California, God knows what's going to happen with that. Let's see. So existing home sales are pretty much, for those of you that don't know what existing home sales is, suppose you're a first-time agent or you're just really interested in this kind of thing and you're a buyer and you want to be informed, what existing home sales means by this is that they are the completed transactions that happened during this month. And for this month, we actually saw a 1.4% increase from September, which, was a good thing. It shows that people are reinvesting in the economy as a whole and that they're investing in real estate, which tends to be a better investment in the long run. It's better than Bitcoin, maybe. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but that's just what I've been seeing. The bad news is that during this time last year, sales are still 5.1% down than what they were at this time last year. So I'm not sure what that's indicative of, but that's just to go ahead and show exactly what is going on, and perhaps the market is getting better. And like I said before, maybe people are coming out of their shells more just to see what exactly there is, but they're reluctant to do so. That's my interpretation of it. That's also because the inventory has increased, and that has been bringing more buyers into the market. But then that in turn has risen those rates as well. The median home price for this past month was around the neighborhood of $250K, and that was up from 3.8% from October last year. Now, this is the 80th month for the year that we've seen year-over-year gains. So that's good. That's that's indicative of what the economy is doing itself. Let's see. So the interesting thing that also noted was that the inventory has decreased over the past month as well. So originally going from about 1.88 million, it went down to 1.85 million. Now I know that doesn't seem like much, but it still gives a little bit of an idea as to what exactly there is out there. Yeah, like I said, it's not the most, but it's definitely something to take note of as we see that that inventory is starting to decrease, and then I will get in later how home prices are starting to increase and what that can mean for you and the people that you're selling and buying for. Let's see here. So the overall inventory, though, it's still an increase, even though it's decreased over this past month. It's still an increase from this time last year. At this time last year, it was at 1.8 million. So that's still doing okay. That means that there's still homes on the market and there's more than what there was last year. That could be more determinate of price and things of that nature. So let's see here. Here's the fun fact, is that over the past little while, there has actually been houses typically stay on the market now for about 33 days, something like that, which has pretty much been the trend. But as we're going into the low season, that's going to take a little bit longer. A lot of people choose to think that buying a home during this time is not a good idea, mostly because of the holidays. There's Thanksgiving, which is tomorrow, and then there's going to be the winter holidays in December. So a lot of people just say, you know what, I'm going to wait a minute before I go looking at any homes, when in all actuality, this could actually work or not work towards people's advantage, because if you wait until everybody else does, say during the spring, then you're going to run into the problem of multiple offers. You're going to run into all cash buyers. You're going to run into a whole lot of other things. I will get into the investors thing later, which is just interesting to know. But if anyone chooses to wait till after the holidays, yes, it could help to relieve some stress from you, but you're also missing out on a lot of serious buyers that could potentially go ahead and snap up your house like that. That's a thing that you might want to get in on. Tammy Klingenberg a few weeks ago actually did a Realtor Tip of the Week for us, who stated that November is actually quite a good time for anybody to be selling or buying their home. It's because people's inventory are down, much of what I said earlier of how there was a 0.03 million decrease from the houses from September to October. So that more limited inventory could be good. So let's see, where was I? Yeah, so like I said, 33 days on the market for October, which is not much change from last month or this time a year ago. In fact, it's barely even negligible from the past time. It's been remaining around the 33 range. But yeah, so, and a fun little statistic is that 46% of those that were on the market were only on the market for 1 month. So there is still that sense of urgency that's going on for anybody that's buying. They know they want to get into a home. They know that this is what they want to do. And it is your job essentially to go ahead and take a look at how that market is behaving. Hi, Michael. How you doing, buddy? So that's just a little bit going off of those statistics. Another thing that they noted was that there is more inventory now, which means that there is a less frenzy to buy. Now, I understand that's a little bit of kind of mashing up or kind of disconnect in terms of what I just said. But the thing about it is that, like I said, this could be a good time to go ahead and get in on it, because unlike the spring, there's going to be a lot more of that happening, which is good for the sellers, but it can honestly work either way. So that's just the thing. So the more inventory could be good news for the realtors. Things won't be that crazy going in the winter, which again, I said as usual. The interesting thing that I want to note, though, is the mortgage rate. Now, this could be the thing that causes a lot of friction for anybody that's going to be looking into buying. This is going to be more catering towards the first-time home buyers, as they're more than likely looking at mortgage rates to see what kind of deal that they could get. Unfortunately, the mortgage rate rose a little bit for about 0.2%. Now, I understand that for a lot of people that's not much, but for first-time home buyers, that could be a lot. That could be the difference between a couple $1,000s. So just to put that into perspective right there, from last month, which was about, the average was about 4.63%, it went up to 4.83%. Now, there's many different conjectures on why this is. This is just what Fannie Mae came out with for the press release that I was reading earlier. I have my own conjectures, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to speak about them because, once again, I'm not an economist. I am not someone who I think is able to speak on these. If you want to know my thoughts, please feel free to message me at your convenience. We could talk about economics from there. But just letting you know about that the rise in the mortgage rate could turn off some potential first home buyers. Because from this time last year, it was at 3.99%, so hovering around the 4% mark, which in turn brought out a lot of different people, especially for those first-time home buyers, because they knew that they could get a good deal. That also brought out the investors that were looking for quick steals. Pretty much brought out a lot of people. But now that the rate has gone up, it's going to be creating some different problems. Let me see here. So, and with that rising home mortgage rate, and then with the increase in prices for the homes, that could also mean that could not mean a good environment for those first-time home buyers. And that's where you got to come in and figure out, how can I get this niche to go ahead and invest in their own property? We'll get into that later. And also, another interesting statistic for you all to be aware of is that for first-time home buyers actually represent about a third of the total home buyers that are out there. So that is something to keep in mind. If you choose to not go ahead and cater to this niche, well, you're going to be missing out on a third of business. Yes, it's going to be difficult to perhaps market to those people, but it's going to end up in your favor. That work will turn out to be in your favor. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Yeah, so despite gains, sales are still down from a year ago due to the affordability of the higher interest rates. So do keep that in mind. We are going into the winter. Let's see. Oh yeah, the investor sales rates went up. Cash sales went up, which is interesting to note for who your potential clients might be going into the winter. A lot of investors have seen that these aren't being taken up as quickly as they can be. And the general rule of thumb is, you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. And that's kind of what these investors are doing. So just keep an eye out for those people as well. They are looking to buy, they're very serious. So just be on the lookout for people like that. Another thing that they said was that the single family home price has gone up to 4.3% from a year ago. So again, that may not seem like much, but to someone like me who hypothetically might be looking for a home, that could mean a lot of money. I was just for giggles, I popped on to Trulia just to see what the prices were like, what my mortgage might be, just to go ahead and see what the environment was like. And there were quite a few different places that I had noted a little while ago that I could actually afford should I really want to, I don't know, actually have a home of my own. I could have actually done it a few months back, but now with the family home prices now going up, I'm not terribly sure about that. Mostly just because of the fixed mortgage rates as well as the rising house prices. People are hearing about the fact that now would be the perfect time to sell, and they in turn are putting their houses on the market thinking that they could go ahead and sell it for more money, but it might create a bit of a backlash in the future. So be cognizant of something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with that. The home prices are going up while the sales are going down. So you might just have to forewarn others that this might be the case and that they might have to lower their price in the future due to increasing inventory. Let's see. So what does this mean for your marketing strategy? I'm sure is what you're thinking. How does this affect me? Well, it means you're going to have to increase your efforts. It means that it's not going to be so easy to sell homes, or it might not be so easy. So just be aware of that. And you might have to tweak your strategy to prepare for winter. This is when, well, in the posts I'm going to be doing later, I'm going to be posting all sorts of memes. And for anybody that's not familiar with the Game of Thrones one, just be prepared. So, like I said, prepare the seller that they may have to drop the price, which can and does happen a lot. You can blame the rising mortgage rates. You can blame the rising house prices. You can blame even the inventory that's available out there. So, I mean, but you can blame all you want. But really, in the end, yes, there are some things you can't control, and there are some things that you can't control. But why worry about the things that you can't control when you could go ahead and just work on your marketing strategy, make it even better for the holidays, and then go into the new year with all these different referrals and different clients and things like that. It's all about how you work it, right? So I guess what you can go ahead and conclude from this, from what I said earlier, is that the first-time buyers are going to be reluctant to enter the market right now unless they have to. So anybody that's having a change in their family situation, such as having a child, or having their parent move in with them, or something along those lines, or perhaps there's a new job. Something that's going to force them to move is going to, or get them out of there, might be their inspiration to buy a house, and just given where they are going. So just, that's a thing to keep in mind. And also due to the lack of the frenzy right now, so you're going to have to increase your strategy, as well as keep everything in mind and concerns with that. Because I mean, during this time of year, a lot of realtors have to prepare for that slump because of what everybody thinks. But that could be good news for you. I mean, that means that you won't have to be running everywhere all the time and trying and freaking yourself out just by having so many different sales. Now you can slow down on those sales a little bit, but that doesn't mean that you fully stop. That doesn't mean that you can fully rest or anything like that. In fact, now is the time to go ahead and take a look at what you've been doing this past year, regroup, and see what you could have done better, or see where your sales were strongest, which neighborhoods were strongest for you. Where can you put your efforts to maximize your bottom line? That's what you can do during this time. A lot of realtors take off the holidays to go ahead and relax from the past year, what all of it's done to them, and catch up with family, do the like. I'm not saying don't catch up with your family if you enjoy it. What I am saying is that this is the time to take a look at what you've done, and take a look at your numbers, what you spend, how you spent your marketing dollars this year, and what you can do to reallocate those assets to give you more for the future. You don't want to be putting money into something that doesn't work. So now is the best time to get a head start on everybody else. So when the new year comes in, you can drop it like that and then take off running. These other people, the other realtors, are going to be going, I know it's the first of the year. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then they waste the next, God knows how many weeks, trying to prepare for the next year. While if you've already done that while they're still sleeping, then that gives you a jump start above the competition, and then gives you room to go ahead and move in on their ground. Good work. Let's see. So, what else do you need to know? So people are still borrowing, and that's just the thing. They're still borrowing, and now it's actually back to pre-recession levels, I've just read. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a reason to panic. There is no reason to panic, mostly because you only panic if you look at one side of the ledger over here. You only panic if you see the collective debt that the country has. If you're not looking at the asset side, that's when you begin to panic, and panicking is not good, and it's just going to ruin your mode of thinking and not have you properly strategize. So no, as far as I know, there is not a recession coming or anything like that. It's just the way that the market is behaving right now. Let's see here. Yeah, so just making you aware of that. And also foreclosures and defaultings are incredibly low right now. So if you're looking to get in on short sales foreclosures or defaults or anything along those lines, do note that the levels are very low right now. So if you're hoping to cash in on that, you might want to think of a different strategy or some other way to maximize those. I understand that some of you all, that's your specialty, especially with terms of investors, like what I said earlier, in which case, sure, go for it. But just understand that the certain section, that certain niche is fairly limited right now. So, but okay, so I'm pretty sure you're wondering, well, what can I do to maximize my own efforts? What can I do? The one thing that I would say is going to be best for your own strategy is to have a lender in your corner that's going to understand the needs of anybody that you could have. So especially for those first-time home buyers, your VA loans, your FHA loans, and things like that. There are some sellers out there that may change their mind about that in difference to an all-cash offer if you know how to play it. Now, I'm sure there are several other people like that would understand on how exactly to play that into a deal that works out best for them, in which case feel free to comment below or ask around, because I would love to know what has worked in the past for anybody that's decided to take this tactic. But another thing, that's why you have the lender in your corner, is that way they can recommend to you what options you can bring, or maybe they can have a lower rate. There's a few different options and a different reason why you'd want to have not only just one lender in your corner, but maybe 2 or 3 or 5, just to have certain options to see what you can do best for your client, because that's why you're there. But the one thing that I would say is that you're going to have to get creative. And while you're thinking about your year in 2018 and how you've done business and what's worked and what's not, going into the holiday season, you can think about what could work. This is when things can get creative. I understand that, giving things away for free and whatnot is the perfect way to get yourself up in front of a different bunch of people, which is where this certain thing can come in. Now, everyone already knows about giving gifts away or giving a certain thing away to people that have been clients of yours in the past, which we all know. We get the Christmas cards, we get the fruitcake, yeah, big freaking deal. But who really enjoys those? I understand there are some people out there that like Christmas cards, but yay. One thing that I would say to do for your past clients, if you have not done this already, is to think about what sort of unique gift that you can give them. What sort of personal touch can you provide them, or can you give them in order to make yourself last in their mind? Now, this could be anything from a video Christmas card. I know there are a lot of people that have done that. Technology is a wonderful thing, so look into that. So you can do a video Christmas card. You can do several unique promo items, and I don't mean just the stuff that you can find on Vistaprint. I mean, no offense to Vistaprint, love your cards, but some of the promos that they have on there are not exactly. They don't differentiate you. They don't make you stand out in front of anybody else. They're not unique, so to say. There are several different things out there, I think, where if you type in unique promo gifts or something along those lines into Google, you will find a myriad of different things that will make you go, oh, now that's really interesting. Now, if it sticks out to your mind, especially after several days after you went to that site, then maybe that's something that you might want to look into, given that it's not going to break the bank. So just look into different things that would serve you best. Now, going back to the video Christmas card idea, there are a few different ways to go about this. There's, of course, the funny thing, which if you have a great sense of humor, this can work out very well. But mind you, here's the thing about humor is that it can easily backfire. So do be careful if you try to be funny, because some people think they're funny and they're actually not. Or they think something's funny, and the next thing you know, you have a firestorm that you have to take care of, and that's never any fun for anybody. So just be aware of that situation. Cute puppies always work. Cute kittens always work. So puppies, kitties, yay. You could always go the sentimental route, where they're or inspirational or something like that. So take for example I think it was a Coke commercial about a few years back, where it wasn't with the polar bears, it was with Santa or something like that. It was taking it off of Miracle on 34th Street, I want to say that it was, and a lot of people had an emotional response to that. If you want to try something like that that's going to touch the hearts of millions of people, then go ahead and go for it. Again, just be cognizant of who your audience is. I would personally go for the sentimental route. Emotion often brings a response to people that will mark you in their minds. That's just my personal thought. Up to you on what you really want to do, and then go from there. One more thing though before I sign off. If you are going to go for the gifts route, do be aware of who you're sending them to, because there have been some snags that I've seen where, say, someone who's Jewish receives a Christmas card, or someone that celebrates Kwanzaa get a Happy Hanukkah card or something along those lines. That is not only disrespectful, but that is also being very tacky. That just goes to show that you don't really care. So just be aware of that and understand which holiday to celebrate, if any, during this period of time. There are some people that choose not to celebrate anything at all during these upcoming weeks. Just be aware of that. So those are just what I have to say for this period. Again, happy Thanksgiving to all those that celebrate it. I hope you have a marvelous holiday with your family and friends. And let me know your thoughts on any holiday marketing tactics, or on the NAR existing housing report yourself, and what you think needs to be added to that. I would love to have a discussion with you. If you're an economist, please get in contact with me, because I want to have this conversation. Okay, so I think that's it for today. I will see you next week for the next topic. Thanks, everybody.